Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of YouTube Take. Here with my two guests, I'm your moderator, Big Rat J310 Crawford, with my two guests.
Stephen A. Baller.
And I don't forgot my name. Nightmareballa1 or something like that.
He is Philip Bayless.
Phil Bayless, that's right. I forgot.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I have a long day of work, so there we go. I'm
All
going to say
right.
some dumb stuff.
More dumb than normal. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. So to start the show off, Markeem has requested a special segment to completely go off on everything that's pissing him off. Markeem, go off.
Let's start with the very top. Lane Kiffin. Now, before the season started, everyone said USC, they're number one. I don't see what's so great about them, blah, blah, blah. All those people that said that must didn't watch college football last year because playing for nothing, that team last year finished just as strong as anyone else. Only real loss they had was to Stanford, and Matt Barkley only threw, one interception in like the last 9 games, something like that. They were they were as good as anyone last year. Here is the thing. The biggest problem with that team, it has nothing to do with talent or personnel or anything like that. They do not have a motivator. Your job as a head coach is to be able to motivate people to be better, to strive for perfection, to be better than what they already are. And Lane Kiffin is incapable of doing that. The thing is that the offensive line itself, it has problems. It's injury ridden. We all know the story. But the game last weekend against Arizona, when the final drive, don't get me wrong, I totally put it on Matt Barkley. It should have been a better sense of urgency. You know what I mean? But they should have had more time. The thing is that USC, even on the defensive side of the ball, has nothing but athletes. And let me ask both of y'all a question. In all y'all years of watching football, how often do you see at the end of a game where a team is just running the ball to waste time, when they put 8 guys in the box? 8 guys, not 7, 8 guys in the box. When have you ever seen a team actually convert a first down? It doesn't happen often, right?
Never.
And that happened twice. You know what I mean? And that's not even scheme. That's not anything else. That comes down to desire and the ability to lead men. Simple as that. Lane Kiffin is incapable of doing that. I don't know how he got this job. It's like it's like I guess USC felt a level of desperation. I don't know what was going on, but he should not have this job because as talent, like no one has better athletes than him. Marquise Lee, Robert Woods, may be the 2 best receivers in all of college football. They have the best quarterback. He's the best pro prospect by far. Either him or lately I've been hearing Geno Smith a lot. But for the most part, it is all, It is all, Matt Barkley. This is ridiculous. It made me sick to my stomach to see them give up 2 first downs like that. I could not believe what I saw. I just think he should be fired this season, no matter what the result is. This team is too good to have 2 losses, and I'll talk more about them when we make our picks this week. Second thing I wanted to talk about. Well, before I get into the second thing, I just wanted to add one quick comment. If y'all saw the South Carolina game, Marcus Lattimore suffered a horrendous knee injury.
Terrible.
Just terrible. Like,
I was there live. Yeah.
His career may be over in football, which is, unfortunate because I feel like he's NFL ready. I feel like, in terms of skill, he's the most skilled college running back since Adrian Peterson. I really think he would have came in as soon as he got in the NFL, and it's just unfortunate for it to happen. But I just wanted to comment on that because it's just so sad with all the talent that he has.
This guy, and I know, obviously living in South Carolina. Sorry to chime in. I just wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
I just wanted, I was there. I didn't get to see it as close as everyone else, obviously on TV until I got home, and it was bad when I watched it at home. But it was 2 things I want to say before we move on to something else about that. One, Lattimore's a great guy. He's a godly man. I know a lot about. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Obviously, I'm in South Carolina, so I hear a lot more stuff. I've seen updates, and he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's gonna hopefully play again. Like Markeem says, it's not looking good, but I mean, hopefully he stays positive and he can go out there. Second thing, after a bad weekend, and I had a bad weekend as far as high school football, there was a very bad play that a team, I've never seen sportsmanship like that. So to go the next day, that Saturday, and see what Tennessee did, I just want to applaud anybody that's involved in the Tennessee organization. Because the way that they came together,
coming on the field,
the way they came together. Now, someone said that that's the first time it's ever happened. I don't know about that, but
I've never seen that before. They might be on something.
So that might be the first time, and that was just that. I mean, the crowd. That's sportsmanship. I mean, it's about football. It's not about anything else. I mean, it's just football, you know.
Yeah.
So when someone gets hurt, you know, it's good to see that the team cares enough. Like, they don't care what the score is at that point. So I like that. So I just wanted to give Tennessee a good, you know, pat on the back. Yeah, props, right.
I agree, Phil. Totally agree. That was really classy, and I was kind of shocked that it happened.
Right. No, because most teams don't do that. I mean, they might kneel on the sidelines or whatever, but I mean, they all came over. For those that didn't see it, they came over and they all greeted them. Someone said they said a prayer. I don't know about all that, but I do know that they came together and they talked. It was just huge for me, and I got a lot of respect for that organization.
You mean school, Phil?
Huh?
You mean school? You said organization.
Oh, well, you school. Sorry. I'm used to that. Sorry.
Oh, if y'all hear noises, that's my niece and nephew. Yeah, they're just acting crazy. But yeah, the next thing I want to talk about. What'd you say, Phil? You was gonna say something?
No, you're good.
All right. The next thing I wanted to say, I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people don't even realize this is going on. Off the top of the head, how many undefeated teams are there, y'all, in college football right now?
Is there 4?
It's 4, but there's probably there's another one that we don't know about, I presume.
Louisville is undefeated right now. How many of y'all knew that?
I knew after this past week. I didn't know before this.
I don't know.
Like I knew watching that game was on or whatever. And
how many motherfucking people even care?
None.
I don't.
This is why college football should not have a straight up playoff. In the context of what's going on, do y'all really think they are among the best teams in the country?
I would say I don't know enough to say that.
Still, they aren't. They aren't.
Well, yeah, like my gut says they shouldn't be because they're not getting talked about.
The balloon. Now, the thing is, they squeaked by North Carolina. They squeaked by who else? Everyone they played, pretty much. Everyone they played, even teams that weren't really supposed to give them a challenge, they barely squeaked by. Cincinnati squeaked by. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. Like, college football to me should never go to a straight up playoff because you have teams like this wasting everyone's time. like when people were talking about Boise, they they should play for a title and blah blah blah. It's the same shit in Louisville. The only reason people were so adamant about Boise was the gimmick. Do y'all see what I'm talking about now when I say gimmick? It's the gimmick. It's where they're located, and it's the fact that the field is blue. That's all. That's all it was. Louisville is the same shit. They play no one all year. They play probably 1 or 2 ranked teams. Probably just one, knowing the Big East is horrible. And if they go undefeated, and there's 2 one-loss teams, and this play for a national title, no one will give 2 shits. That's my point. Life will go on, and no one will say Louisville got the job. That's what I wanted to say.
Right.
No one would say that.
No, right. What I'm saying, what I want to say to that is the reason why. The reason.
Let me ask you a question, Phil.
No. Listen. Just let me finish. The thing I want to say to that is just that.
Phil, hold on. Let's talk. I just want to ask you a question.
All right, go ahead.
Like, remember when the whole thing was? I kind of got it because at least boys would play at least one top 10 team. You know what I mean? At least one. Like, it would happen at the beginning of the season. I got the hype there. But Phil, I'm asking you this too, kid. If Louisville goes undefeated, will y'all even care? Will either one of y'all care?
Nah.
No, that's true. I won't care.
All right, but go ahead, Phil. I just wanted to make sure that I was crazy. That's all.
No, you're not crazy. I mean, and I agree. You have a point with the gimmick. I mean, Boise State was a gimmick as much as I wanted them to. I was one of their supporters as far as wanting them to at least have a say in it. Whether they got in finally is different, but it just seemed like they were just completely written off. But whatever. What I wanted to say about that is that which just goes back into the whole debate college versus pros. But my thing is like, when a team goes undefeated, in college they do have somewhat like I don't know down to a T like how they pick their opponents, but like my thing is like, and I know they do get to choose to a certain extent, but it's like, a lot of times they don't get to choose. I mean, it's not their fault that the rest of the conference sucks. That's my point. Yeah. Like I don't know about Louisville. I can't speak for them, so I'm just saying as far as a team that goes undefeated, that's clearly not as good as your one-loss teams up at the top. I'm just saying, seeing them undefeated, you think, well, they did everything they had to do. It's not up to them who they play. The team itself. That's just my thoughts about that.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that these people that say college football should just go to a straight-up playoff, they obviously don't watch. That's my point. They obviously don't. It shouldn't.
Right. It shouldn't. Someone that's been wanting a playoff for a long time, and myself, I'm already getting sick of hearing people that saying that 4 is not enough. I'm like,
four is more than enough.
I think 4 is a great number. I think at one point I maybe said 6, but now looking at it, I think 6 is way. You're just gonna have squash matches. I mean, really.
And hold on, one more thing I wanted to add that I think I had and I lost. Hold on, let me go back to it. I'm gathering it. Go ahead and talk, kid. I have it.
I was gonna say, what are the chances that of the 4 remaining teams, three or more stay undefeated? I think the chances are pretty good.
I don't think, to be honest with you,
we're not doing a playoff this year, so it doesn't matter, baby.
I know. I'm just saying, like that's why. I'm saying. I think now. I think this year more than ever, we've never seen so many top teams at once, and I think that this year is a testament to maybe why a 4-team playoff is just enough.
Right, and I think you're probably. I mean, you're probably gonna, like you said, probably gonna maybe be 3 at the end of the year, maybe 4. So
yeah, it's possible.
It's possible, but and then people will be like, "Well, thanks. Finally, we got our playoff." Blah 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 blah. But this, like, some people are. I'm hearing saying 8. No, there's no 8 teams that can compete together. Like 4, you can make it like a case that a number 4 team might could end up winning the whole thing. But like number 8 in college football, it's just because it's so. Right.
I think what you're trying to say is like in the NFL, like 6 teams from each conference. Even though some teams, obviously, there are teams that have better records than other and that are better teams than other, but for the most part, those teams are kind of on a similar playing field.
Because they play all the same teams. Yeah, I mean, right. It's exactly. See, kid, you get what I'm saying. It's a different circumstance. Like, it shouldn't be the same. That's my
right. And there's also, if you like, I follow my local high school team a lot too. If you look at all 3 levels. It's talent. Talent is most important in high school. Then it gets even, it's a little lesser important in which you can make the case for anything, but like it's even lesser important as far as college. And it really gets. I mean, talent is. Don't get me wrong, talent's but coaching, I think, in my opinion, matters more. Well, I don't know what I was trying to say, but whatever. What I'm saying is like talent. Like you have to have the talent. Like where I don't know. I lost my train of thought on the way talking.
Like I had something really good I wanted to say. I just lost it too.
Well, if you remember, we'll get back to it.
Okay. My point is, I'm saying like talent is a big key. Where in NFL, there's so many other players that can get. Where you have to just be. You have the pool that you get in college. You only have a certain pool you're pulling out of.
I mean, in NFL, everybody is considered NFL talent. In college, it's not the same. In college, you have players that are good enough to make the NFL and those that are not. It's a completely unequal playing field.
Right. Same thing with high school. You have people that can play the next level in college, and others that will never play never play football again. So,
agreed.
Which I think is what my point was. In the NFL, you think anybody that makes it to the NFL should be able to play, but
what they do also say, and I want to say this very quickly. I don't know about you guys. For my high school, they went through a traditional playoff system. I don't know if it was 8 teams, but it was significant. As in, they had to. I remember 2 years ago we went to the state championship. We had to win 3 games in the playoffs to make it to the state championship. So it's a little more NFL similar, but it's a moot point.
And see that's just to go to the point about like the four teams in the college and what you just said. The high school is actually playing a playoff game tonight, and they'd have to win 5 games to win the state. Like that's including the state. Like that's a lot. That's half their season. That's the point that I make. As far
exactly, like if they do a playoff, where would it fit?
Like what, 16 plus games? I was like, there's no way you can do that to a college team. Just same thing. I think that 5 that I just said for high school is too much pressure on a high school student. But
all right,
I don't know why I went off on that.
No, that's cool. So our next topic. Basically, over the past weekend, for those that didn't know, the Falcons have gotten a lot of flack because they've had the easy schedule in the NFL. I think there was something like none of the teams they beat, not only were they not 500, they were like, none of them were even better than 400. Like, I think the best team they beat was like a 2-4 team or something. They've had the easiest schedule in the NFL by far. So everyone was giving them flack, and everyone really didn't want to know about how to give Matt Ryan a lot of credit. But Matt Ryan, for those that didn't know, played excellent this weekend. I believe at the end of halftime, I think he was 12 of 13 passing attempt. I think he finished with like in the high 70s, 80%, I believe. He had a tremendous game. And also Peyton Manning, even though it was against the Saints secondary, Peyton Manning, I think people are really starting to take notice now that the Broncos have kind of gotten on a winning streak, that the Broncos really are one of the best teams in the game, and that's mainly due to their quarterback because he makes everyone around them so much better. So now the question has arisen, who should be the MVP between these two? Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, and we'll throw in J.J. Watt in there as a side in as well. But the two that have gotten the most attention have been Matt Ryan and Peyton. And kind of what are your guys' thoughts on the MVP candidate race and those two guys' roles in their teams?
Let me go to first.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. That's the class of the NFL right there, Matt. I mean, as far as quarterback, I mean, they're this season. We're not going over what we debated last week.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, the class of the NFL.
But I'm saying,
go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
You know what I'm just saying.
I know what you mean.
All right, so Matt Ryan and Peyton Manning. I mean, you could literally throw them in a hat right now the way they're playing and grab one. You're not going to go wrong. But to me, I just think people. I mean, he's going out there trying to prove himself. There are people saying that he wouldn't be able to come back from injury. I just think you got to go. Peyton is just playing on another level right now. Yeah. I mean, I know like we debated this and we talked about this about the whole first half, second half theme. But I mean, and I love Tebow to death, but that team, that team was bad last year. I mean, without Tebow, and I'll give my man some support. Without Tebow, I said that team with Kyle Orton, that team was being a top 5 pick, and I still stick by that. I think that the Denver Broncos would have been a top 5 pick. So for Peyton to take that team, which he did the same thing in Indy with the team that became the number 1 pick. So, I just think Peyton has proven it doesn't matter who's on the field. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter how his defense is. Not saying that the Broncos' defense is pushovers, but I'm saying like the Falcons overall have a better team than what Peyton's working with. Definitely. So for Peyton to be able to do what he's doing, I mean, I think, is it Peyton? No, it's not. Is it Peyton? Someone has Jeff. I'm not going to call it out because I feel like I'll say it wrong, but it seems like there's a lot of veteran guys on the offensive line for Denver. So it's like, to have those guys there and be able to still produce or whatever, I got to give it to Peyton. I think I love what Matt Ryan's doing. I think highly of the Falcons. They're 7-0. We have a lot of people want to, like you said, easy schedule, want to say they're overrated. I don't say that one bit about the Falcons. I think I said this last week and I'll say it again. Best team in the NFL. I did pick against them last week. But, that's how I still think the Falcons are playing the best football right now. Yes, they are close games and stuff like that. But anyways, to get back to the point, I think I like Matt Ryan a lot. I think he's definitely up there. You can make a case for him. But I'm going to have to throw my yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I hate Matt Ryan. Y'all don't know that. I'm just going to be real about it. Like, wow. Because I'll explain. Because when he was in college, I mean, all the way to now, whenever I picked for the dude, whenever I rooted for him, he let me down the most. So I just ain't the biggest Matt Ryan fan at all. Like, that's when he decides he want to have his worst performance, like i.e. the Giants last year and shit like that. You know what I mean? He is annoying. He annoys me to no end. And I still then, with that being said, I don't even know if he's the second most valuable player in the league. Like, I think it's Peyton Manning, J.J. Watt maybe, Eli Manning. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even sure. I feel like Peyton Manning is the MVP at this point, though, because, his receivers are what? Demaryius Thomas,
Eric Decker.
Eric, whatever. Eric, what's his name? Who cares?
Decker.
I guess, kid. Eric, whatever. Eric Welker wannabe, Eric Welker Jr.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like he's the MVP. Like, he took a team that, I know you love Tim Tebow, Phil, but let's be real.
Like I said, no, I agree.
The defense was always on suicide watch. They were never a threat to score while the game was going on, only in the fourth quarter. And he took a team that every time he has the ball, at any given time they can score. This man is like, right now, him and Aaron Rodgers are like, in terms of numbers, are like neck and neck. I mean, but I feel like that he's kind of more important to his team than Aaron Rodgers, as crazy as that sounds. Because I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but it's true because
not by much, I don't think.
I think it's by quite a bit, man. Because he's been winning games.
The backup for Green Bay though? Like they
who's the backup?
Flynn, yeah, but
who's the backup for Denver? I'm just saying that.
I agree with what you're saying. I think
like Peyton Manning's been winning games single-handedly. You know what I mean? So
that's true, right?
I have to go with Peyton. He's like he's locked in right now. He's in a rhythm. Remember how we was worried about how he's going to be from half to half? I think they kind of saw that problem. If y'all saw them last week,
I did. That's the same, though. I don't know about.
I'm just saying, like he was that was he did what he was supposed to.
Man, he was probably licking his chops before that game. Like the Saints defense, really?
did you like they show? It was funny because they showed like them coming out or whatever, like before the game, and Peyton Manning's face was like he was ready to kill. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to go with Peyton. Richard, I'm gonna have to go with Peyton.
I actually would agree, and I would agree by a good margin. So let's move on. I don't know.
Damn.
There's just I don't know. To me, it wasn't much of a debate. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about it. That's why I kind of put it on. But we all kind of.
I mean, Matt Ryan's having a nice year. He with his loaded team, he's having a nice year. He is.
Well, that was my point. Like, I think that
Yes, exactly.
Put Peyton Manning on that team, it'd be all-time great numbers. I mean, you would he have like 30 touchdowns already. Roddy Gonzalez, Julio Jones with Peyton Manning. Shit.
And by the way, I was talking about Denver's O-line. I don't know what I was thinking of. That was not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Green Bay's O-line with Jeff Saturday. So I just want to clarify that.
Next up, Michael Vick. At the time that I wrote this, it was said that Michael Vick was probably going to be benched, but they revealed recently that Andy Reid has actually changed his mind and he will be starting for the Saints. And I kind of want to talk to you guys, obviously, about whether at this point this is the good decision. Nick Foles ahead of Michael Vick. Markeem, start us off.
I want to add this. I like Nick Foles. I think somewhere in this league, like I saw him a lot in college. When he was at Arizona. He pretty much like the only reason Mike Stoops got a job is because he recruited this boy. To be honest with you, like his head coaching job when he was at Arizona. The dude can play. I think that somewhere in this league, he will win games for people. I don't think he'll ever be like I don't think he's ever gonna light anyone up. But he's a tough kid and he'll win games. And I think, to be honest with you, they need someone that they know what they're going to get from week to week. They need someone that can actually go out there and play and not play scared and actually actually have a consistent string of, football. And I think Michael Vick at this point will not do that for you. I think Michael Vick should be benched ASAP. If I was coaching the team, what happened 2 weeks ago? What happened 2 weeks? Like he wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have played against Atlanta. He would have got benched 2 weeks ago. And even if Nick Foles threw 4 interceptions against Atlanta, I would have gave him one more week, and then I would have went back to Vick. Real shit. Because it's no different from what Vick is doing right now. Okay, he didn't have any turnovers. That's 1 week out of God knows how many. He has a ghastly amount right now. I honestly feel like I don't even want him on the team next year. I don't want him anywhere near the Eagles next season. That's how I feel about that.
Okay. Well, I think that Markeem, you make great points there as far as Vick and not being consistent at all, because we clearly know he's not. But I think at this point the problem, and it kind of was proven last week. I mean, I know Atlanta is a great team, but it was kind of proven last week that the main problems of the Eagles, although he is awful, is not Michael Vick. I think the coaching is just not where it needs to be at all. I don't think if you start Nick Foles, it's going to change anything. And I think Andy Reid knows this, and he knows that if he puts in Nick Foles and they lose 3 straight, he's definitely getting fired.
Let me rebuttal that real quick. I see what you're saying, Phil, but I think that's not the case. And I kind of agree with Skip. I can't believe I'm about to. I kind of Skip Bayless on this when he said that, like, Andy Reid wants Michael Vick to do well, so he puts the game in his hands. If Nick Foles was in there, it would be in LaShawn McCoy's hands, and that's how they should play football. LaShawn McCoy should touch the ball 35 times a game. He should.
I agree with that too.
I think if Nick Foles was in there, you would see a lot more of that. That's exactly what would happen.
And they tend to win more. I mean, I don't know the stats behind it, but I mean, they do tend to win more games when they give him the ball more, and he's able to be successful. So, I mean, I totally agree with you about that, about LaShawn McCoy. I just think at this point,
he always wants to make the play, and he can't,
right?
Because he sucks.
Right. and I mean, like I said, I just think at this point, what I'm trying to say is Andy Reid can't put his life on the line with a rookie quarterback. I mean, or not his life on the line, but his college career. I mean, his coaching career. Sorry, he can't put it on the line and hand it over to Nick Foles. If he gets it wrong with Vic, you know, he can kind of fall on that crutch as far as, like, you know, he can say, well, you know, Vic just wasn't the guy that he should have been for the money he's getting. Nick Foles, you just can't. I mean, I don't think you can put him in here. The way Vic's playing, I understand bench him if it's not if Andy Reid's coaching job was secure, I'd say bench him in a heartbeat. But I just think that if I was Andy Reid, I can't really blame him for not benching Vic, especially when you're about to go against the Saints, where Vic could probably throw look like a genius. So I
have a guarantee to make. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, go ahead.
The Saints have given up 400 yards 7 straight weeks, right? Which is NFL record, right? Something like that I read.
Something like 3. I'm not sure what, but yeah.
Michael Vick will have less than 200 yards passing against them.
Oh, son.
Promise you.
Less than 200?
Watch.
Has Vic even had that in a whole year?
I'm putting you on the record.
Put me on the... Because he will have less than 200 yards passing. I promise you. Because he's simply... Not because the fucking Saints are going to play lockdown defense. It's because he fucking sucks.
He has had that twice this year. Against Pittsburgh and last week against Atlanta. So it's not a far-fetched to say it. I'll give you that, Markeem.
I want to say
not
this.
As far-fetched as I thought.
Oh, sorry. I want to say this. Michael Smith made a great point about this. You know, the Eagles Michael Vick leads the NFL in turnovers, and Andy Reid fires his defensive coordinator. The very next week, the defense has and the Eagles are 3-3, mainly due to their defense not allowing a lot of points. The next week, the Eagles' defense allows its most points all season, has their worst game. Michael Vick throws 0 interceptions, and Andy Reid wants to get rid of Michael Vick. This is a sign, he said, this is a sign of a coach that is out of touch. And I kind of agree. And
I agree.
I think that when you are as desperate as he is, and he's clearly worried about his job, he is just not understanding why this team isn't succeeding. And that's why I think it would actually be a mistake to bench Vic. You might not like the dude, but you gotta admit this. Here's a stat for you. The Falcons are the number 3 team in the NFL in forcing turnovers, and Vic had 0 against them. Here's another stat for you.
A dead clock is right twice a day. To quote Stephen A. Smith, a dead clock is right twice a day.
Here's another stat for you. In the 7 games of the Falcons, they forced turnovers in every single one except the Eagles. What?
Okay. A dead clock is right twice a day.
I'm just saying, when you're playing the Saints, it's a pretty safe bet that Vic can get you through this game. This team is 3-3, 3-4 now, I guess. They did get past the Giants, the Ravens, who's the other team? The Browns. My point is that Vic can get you through the Saints. If you were playing a top caliber team, I would say maybe you should consider starting Foles. You're playing the Saints. It's a safe bet. And I also want to say this. And maybe I'm biased here because Todd Bowles, their new defensive coordinator, was the interim head coach of the Dolphins last year. Former assistant coach. I don't
So you know all about Todd Bowles, don't you?
No, but listen to my logic here. If you looked in the preseason for the Dolphins, and I know you all say preseason doesn't mean anything. If you do say that, you don't understand the game. If you looked at the Dolphins' first few games, their defense looked absolutely horrendous. And they were playing against starters. Starters, first team unit versus first team unit, they were allowing like 25, 30 points. We have a new coordinator in Kevin Coyle, and our defense looked horrendous. It looked like we were going to average 35 points a game. Now, our defense is one of the best in the NFL. Top 5 in pass defense, top 2 in run defense. We have one of the best defenses in the NFL. With a new defensive coordinator, especially, they say this with a new coach and with a new offensive coordinator. With a new defensive coordinator, especially, the defense needs some time to adjust to the new schemes. This guy's been coordinator for a week. I didn't expect their defense to have a strong performance because it takes time to get used to a new coordinator. It's a different defensive mentality. That's why I do think in 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see the Eagles defense playing back to the level they normally were at. So I wouldn't worry too much about their defensive coordinator. I know people were kind of like saying, oh, he was an idiot for firing Juan Castillo. We should bring him back right away. Nah, I don't think it really matters. I think the Eagles defense will be just fine. Another stat for you, the Eagles play really, really well in November and December. This isn't just last year. This is most of their time. Most of the time where they make the playoffs in the wild card, they get it through strong wins in December and November. And the Eagles play really, really well then. So I'm still not giving up my Eagles to the Super Bowl prediction, believe it or not.
Yeah, you get laughed at this weekend.
Yes.
No. Michael Vick in the Super Bowl. I would chop my dick off before that happens. Seriously.
I'm putting it on the record.
That won't happen.
I'm putting you on record.
Listen. I'm merely saying that I made a pick, and I'm not abandoning my pick yet. Next week, I wanted to do playoff picks because next week would be halfway through the season. I am not ready to abandon I want to stand by my pick. And when the playoffs come around and we make new picks again, maybe I'll predict something different. But for right now, I'm standing by my pick.
You would have no choice because they ain't going to be there.
All right.
They're going to be at home watching.
All right.
8-8 again, watching everything happen. Because of fucking Michael Vick and his soft ass defense. This team is awful. I feel so shitty right now because they like for real. I couldn't even get mad anymore. I was just watching like they're playing like punks right now. They're playing like straight up punks. Fuck them. Seriously, right. I'm about to just change. I'm almost done.
Well, almost done. To Big Rat's defense a little bit. Their schedule is pretty easy down the stretch, but
that don't mean a damn thing, Phil.
But they did lose the Detroit Lions in overtime, and Detroit hasn't been.
They also beat the Giants, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat those.
Yeah, but
again.
That's exactly. Never mind. But whatever.
All right, so let's move on. Florida over the weekend lost to Georgia.
So time out, kid. We're gonna talk about Miami and Virginia Tech. We're gonna talk about
that comes in the game recap.
Okay, all right.
We made predictions on that. Florida lost over the weekend. Kind of killing their season a little bit. They lost to Georgia. I forget the final score. They lost by 8 after Jordan Reed fumbles in the end zone. Even though he gets a lot of heat, but they were down by 8. That game, not only would that play not have won them, it wouldn't even have tied them the game. They still would have got to go for the 2-point conversion. He's getting a little too much heat for this one. And now basically the SEC is a little more interesting with Georgia and LSU. LSU ranked 5, Georgia ranked 6. LSU plays Alabama this weekend, so if Georgia wins out, we could see a Georgia-Alabama SEC title game. But basically, Markeem, start us off talking about the loss by Florida and what the future looks like with Georgia and LSU now.
I ain't gonna say I called it because I picked Florida, but I knew they wouldn't be as unbeatable as they look outside of the swamp. Like I knew that would happen. However, I did not know that Georgia's defense would step up like they did. Jarvis Jones is now back in the Heisman discussion. You know what I mean? I think going the rest of the way, I think they do win out and play for the SEC title. But I'm really disappointed with Florida because I mean they're a young team. Really, they overachieved this year. Props to them. But the fact they were a better team than Georgia. I mean, let's just be real. They were more. Well, not gonna say more balanced on offense, but I would say they had a more dominating, running attack. You know what I mean? Where they've been pounding people all year. You know what I mean? And the defense, has been solid. You know what I mean? Has been solid to great all year. And I expected them, to pretty much just throw, Aaron Murray and the rest of them around. I expected them to wreak havoc on him all game. And, they play like a bunch of scared kids. And, it's just, props to them because I feel like they are not relevant anymore. They'll be an at-large bid in the BCS. I think they'll win out, but I also think Georgia will win out, and they'll end up playing for SEC title. So I mean, it's but props to Georgia. They got it done. But I do believe Georgia will play for SEC championship.
Phil,
I don't know.
Any thoughts?
I just Florida. I mean, I can't believe they lost to Georgia. I was just like, whatever. I was actually listening to the Florida Georgia game on the way home from the Gamecock game, so it was just like Georgia. It felt like Florida was giving Georgia everything.
I hate to cut you off, but Jordan Reed should kill himself. I can't believe what was he think? Dude, you gotta start watching Sports Center. You can't hurdle everybody, guy. You gotta start watching sports. I know you've seen that all over Sports Center with what's the name of my boy Selleck from Philadelphia and Brendan Selleck and a homeboy from Michigan State. He did it last week too. I know you saw that. I know it was impressive, but dude, like that don't mean you can do it too. What the fuck was he thinking leaving his feet? He got exactly what he deserved. He fumbled away the national championship for Florida. He fumbled it all.
They've been playing bad the whole game. They were down by 8. They still.
But he would have got in though. You know what I mean? He would have got in.
They still had to get the 2-point conversion. They still had to win in overtime. Like I think he's getting too much heat for this.
But he took away all chances for any of that to happen. Mm-hmm. By jumping in the air like a fool.
I've never believed in blaming an entire game on one person or one play. I think that's kind of short-sighted.
I will blame the chance to win on that fool. I'll do that. You can't do stupid shit like that at the end of a game, man. That's ridiculous.
Let me ask you this. If LSU wins this weekend and they beat Georgia, okay, but let's say they win this weekend and let's say they beat Georgia in the SEC title game, does that mean that we could possibly get an LSU-Alabama national title rematch?
No, because the thing is that I really I mean, we could possibly get it if every undefeated team loses. Okay. I mean, but that won't happen.
Right, I agree.
All right. Next we move on to the Miami Dolphins and New England Patriots.
Time out. It will happen if every undefeated team loses, but that won't happen.
All right. Now we talk about the Dolphins and Patriots. I've been kind of jokingly, offhandedly the past 2 weeks saying the Dolphins are going to win the AFC East. I was only kind of half serious when I said that, but recently the Dolphins have actually been getting a decent amount of coverage saying how the team is actually legit. Vinny Verhey, who I kind of quote a lot on the show, actually wrote an article saying why Miami is for real. It was actually very, 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 very interesting. He talked about how their defense is top ranked, their special teams is top ranked. Their only flaw, if you really call this a flaw, is their offense. But their offense is still pretty good. And Ryan Tannehill is playing pretty well. Obviously, he's hurt now, and Matt Moore is playing in probably the next 2 games. But their receivers are playing well, and they have a solid running back contributor in Reggie Bush and Daniel Thomas. So really, this team is pretty well-rounded, is what his final thoughts were. And he said, don't be surprised if they go to the playoffs. And now it's getting really interesting because we're tied with the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots have a bye this week, and I do think the Dolphins will win this week. So I think after this week, we'll be tied with the same amount of losses. And now the question becomes, can the Dolphins actually contend for the AFC East this year? I've been critical of the Patriots, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
The Rams.
We'll get to that.
We'll
get to that. Push that aside. So, Phil, I wanted to first ask you first, in an honest, fair opinion, do you think this is much of a race or not at all?
I think it's more than a race than most people would want to admit. It's including myself.
You know what, Phil? I'm proud of you for saying that. I am.
No, I mean, it is. I know the Dolphins, and I know that they're always competitive. So the fact that they're more competitive now or they're more being able to compete with more top teams. You can't. I mean, and I said what was it 2 podcasts ago or whatever that the game this week against the Colts was going to be big for them, and it ends up still being big because they won the games that they. First of all, I just want to say thank you for doing exactly what we should have done and killed the Jets. That's first of all what I want to say because that Miami, that's a game that I said they needed to go in and win.
But according to Skip Bayless, if Tim Tebow would have came in when they were down 17-0, he would have won the game.
That is another thing too. It happened against the Patriots, and I'll say it again against the Dolphins. Like I said, you guys, everybody knows I'm a Tebow supporter, but he doesn't win that game for them against the Patriots if he plays that game. And I said it then, and I'll say this again after this week. He does not win that game for against the Dolphins if he plays that whole game. No, it does no. Like the better team won. Now, granted, would it maybe have been closer with Tebow? Maybe.
No,
I might
no.
would give you that. I would give you that. But that's only because Matt Moore came in. But to be honest, and that's something I want to say too, Matt Moore didn't do bad for them.
No, not at all.
To me, I actually think he earned the starting spot, but I understood going with the rookie. I understood that. But I think it's not everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, Matt Moore's back to starting. Okay, then they'll be as good as they were at the end of the last year. So I mean, it kind of goes to the point. Like if anyone thinks that this race is completely on New England, New England, it is New England's to lose. It always will be for a while. But I'm just
as long as they have Tom Brady,
right? As long as we have the great one. But
oh Jesus.
But anyways, what I'm saying is like. People like what Brett says about Miami not getting a lot of coverage. It could be arguably one of the most undercovered teams. I understand why people are going to say this isn't a race, but it is a race. I mean, even when New England I say win, but when New England plays Miami, if New England wins, I still think it's a race. It could come down to the wire. I think the Dolphins right now are easily going to make the playoffs unless some team comes out. Well, I wouldn't say easily, but they're going to be definitely in the race. And I wouldn't doubt, I think a win this week against the Colts would definitely continue that. But like I said, yeah, there's definitely a race right now. You'd be stupid to say there wasn't. And me being a fan of the Patriots, I know how the Dolphins can get a win against us in any year, it seems like. So for them to be good, actually good, there's they have just as good a chance as we do.
And I also want to say that we play the Patriots in Week 17, so that could
Right, we brought that up, right?
Yeah, could be very interesting.
Now that could mean something for the division. You never know. When I said that the Patriots probably won't be playing for anything.
The way I think it's going to work out, I think the Dolphins are going to be 9-6, and the Patriots will be 11-4, having already clinched the division. They're going to rest their starters. We're going to win. We're going to go 10-6. They're going to go 11-5, and we're going to play in the first round of the playoffs.
That would be a crazy environment too in Foxborough.
I would.
Nuts.
That would.
Like you should try and go to that game if you can, kid.
I will, but I'll be out
if they did that, we should both go.
I actually live really close to Foxborough from Providence, but I'll be out of class by then. But if it's obviously I'll still try to go because it's the postseason. Markeem, anything to add?
I'm glad you brought up Matt Moore, Phil, because I feel like Kansas City should try and go after that dude. Matt Castle cannot get it done. Like Matt Castle is just. Have y'all seen anyone just look as bad as he did? Well, one other person, we'll get to it in a second, but he looked horrible on Thursday. Horrible.
It's pretty bad when they're willing to start Brady Quinn over you.
Exactly. Like Brady Quinn getting hurt, and they were discouraged about it. Like, oh, Brady Quinn's hurt. Oh, now I guess we gotta go back to Castle. That is, you suck when something like that. He's getting paid so much money to be back. He's the Carl Pavano of the NFL right now. Y'all remember Carl Pavano for the Yankees? A few years ago, got paid all that money. Played for the Marlins too. Was bad for the longest, getting paid like $20 million a year. That is Matt Castle right now. I don't understand. Matt Moore should be a starter somewhere else in the league because he can do what Alex Smith does. I feel like if a team is okay enough around him, he can do what Alex Smith is doing right now. I truly believe that because Alex Smith ain't all that talented. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to throw that out there. I totally agree with y'all. The Dolphins, I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those people that thought they would suck. I'll be real with you, kid. And they're really shocking me. I think they actually have a legit shot at this division. I just think that the Patriots' offense has been clicking, and I think that they're pretty much going to be what we think they are. You know what I mean, what they always are every season.
Right, I'm just saying that the Dolphins. I mean, you can't say the Dolphins have a chance, right?
But I do think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll win the division. But it's now interesting. It's
a race as of right now.
All right, next up, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, because this has legit been pissing me off, and I wanted to wait until the Colts are in the position they are now. Basically, the whole season, RG3 has gotten a lot of the hype, and he's a very good quarterback.
Deservedly so, though.
He's a very good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but Andrew Luck has just been getting no coverage whatsoever. And this is a team that was 2-14 last season. Now they're 4-3. They are tied with the Dolphins. Them and the Dolphins have the wild card spot right now. It's them, the Dolphins, and the Steelers are tied, but them and the Dolphins, I guess, have a tiebreaker. I don't know why. But the Dolphins and the Colts, if you look if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, the Dolphins and Colts would have the wild card right now. Andrew Luck is making this team, and I don't care how shitty the AFC is. Nonetheless, Andrew Luck is taking a team that was nothing into playoff contenders. RG3 is taking a team that was 7-9 last year, and they're probably going to finish 7-9 again. And RG3 is
all they were missing was a quarterback, you know. So.
And RG3 is a very, very good quarterback, but it's just been really, really been bothering me that Andrew Luck, week in and week out, especially after that game against Green Bay, has just been playing great. His team, again, this team has already doubled their production from last season, and nothing. So now I want to kind of talk to you guys about how they're both doing in the NFL and how I think kind of Andrew Luck's being a little underrated, which I never thought I would say last year. Markeem, start us off.
Andrew Luck is amazing. I've been saying this since he was a junior, or a sophomore, actually. The dude can fucking play. This dude is a baller. You know what I mean? He was in a running system at Stanford, and still people were saying he was the best player since Elway. And I totally agree, just coming out of college, just watching him. The only reason, I'll say this. The only reason he didn't easily win the Heisman 3 straight years, to be quite honest with you, is because he was in a running system. 2 of those years with Jim Harbaugh, and then you know how he runs the ball, and for pretty much what he does in San Francisco is the same shit he did at Stanford. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Luck was in the Alex Smith role and put up the numbers he put up at Stanford. You know what I mean? The dude is a baller, and if he makes the playoffs this year, y'all will never hear the end of it from me. Let's just put it like, oh my god, I will be the way that you see, you know, people be biased about who they like. You know what I mean? Like the way Stephen A. Smith is with Aaron Rodgers. I'm like that with Andrew Luck. Y'all will never hear the end of that shit from me. RG3 has been great. He's brought a lot of excitement to Washington. You know, he some of his numbers are just gaudy. You know what I mean? I would say in terms of like, you know, not turning the ball over. You know what I mean? I would say he's slightly better than Luck. You know, because Luck has had some 3 interception, you know, games and shit like that. You know what I mean? But with that being said, Andrew Luck has nothing around him. RG3 actually has weapons, guys that are proven in the league that can play. You know what I mean? RG3 has what, the 3rd leading rusher in the league right now, something like that?
Yeah. Alfred Morris,
Yeah. So you know he has weapons around him. Andrew Luck doing this with nothing. I feel like honestly, Andrew Luck has had the more impressive year than RG3. No one will agree with that, but you know because RG3 is so electric, you know what I mean? But I feel like Andrew Luck is the sole reason why the Colts look legit right now. And anybody that said Jim Irsay was an idiot for going the young route and all that stuff, you would have had Peyton Manning, who didn't want to be there with a rookie that he knew was there to replace him. Like the Lucks and the Mannings didn't want that to happen. So you know, I feel like, and it's even more obvious now that dude made the right decision. I don't like him because he's like the Jets, care more about the back page instead of actually winning games. You know, but he made the right decision from a football standpoint. I feel like he made the right decision.
Right. I mean, you know, I've had my thoughts about that now, but I mean, not talking about that. I think RG3 is having the better, in my opinion, is having the better season statistically. But I do agree with the point that, you know, both you and Big Red have made about the fact that, you know, Robert Griffin has all this talent and is able to get all these numbers, but they're not winning games. I mean, they should be they're losing games that they didn't even lose last year. The team, so it's like that's my point of as far as like who's, you know, who, and I know you can't say it's a team thing where you have Indy who, you know, sucked for luck last year basically. So I mean, they got luck and that's
look, I like that.
They sucked for luck and they were able to get him, and now look what he's doing. Like, yeah, his stats aren't your stats are great, but he's still a rookie. I mean, you know, he's not everybody can put up amazing numbers like the great one. Oh, you can call him the great one, but whatever. Not Tom Brady. I'm talking about everyone's favorite boy, even though he's sucking it up this season, Cam Newton. You know, not everybody can have that kind of season. So, you know, I think that's part of it, and I think RG3, you know, being, if you want to say Cam-like of last year early on in the season, that's why everybody's kind of showing love that way and forgetting about Andrew Luck. But I think in the end, Andrew Luck's boys are going to be very close to a playoff spot, if not in this playoff spot. Washington's pretty much done. I thought Washington, the way they
I don't know about done.
well, not done right now, but I'm saying I don't think that Washington's going to make the playoffs. Not in the
It's
NFC.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Look, they have to,
and that's like, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that if you look at the teams that are in the wild card right now, tell me which of these teams Washington can beat. Teams that are currently not scheduled to win their division: the Packers, the Seahawks,
No.
the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
The Cowboys, yeah.
Anybody can beat them.
The Cardinals, and
Yeah, I think so. I think they could beat them too.
the Bucks. But
I think they could beat the Bucks
but
too.
the
But
Packers,
I see what you're saying.
Packers
Right.
and Seahawks, like it's just
No.
yeah. Now we'll get into our last week recap, and I need to say a few words. Phil, I in fact do need to apologize to everyone on this show for my because
Hey, hold on. He didn't make the pick on the show. He made it on.
that's true.
Oh,
I didn't make this
y'all, I
pick
wish y'all
on the
could see me
show.
marking out.
I made it on Twitter. I would like to apologize. I completely misjudged the quality. I completely did not give this team the right amount of credit. I must really say that the St. Louis Rams are not, in fact, a good team.
I knew that was coming.
What were you thinking when they were up 7-0? You were like, yes, I was right.
All right. Basically, I told people I predicted that the Patriots will never beat a team that will finish above 8-8 this whole season. And I predicted the Rams to finish 8-8, 9-7 because I saw that game against the Dolphins. Little side rant. This always pisses me off. Whenever people, and Skip Bayless does this a lot. Whenever people say how good a team should be, like people always say, "Oh, we're 5-3, but we could be 6-1. We could be 7. We could be 8-0." Like people always say that, especially for the Dolphins. They're like, "Oh, they're 4-3, but they could be 6-1 with the 2 overtime losses." What also pisses me off is there are a bunch of games that a team should have lost, but they ended up winning. But that just doesn't matter. The Dolphins,
I agree.
Like people always include the games that they lost that they should have won, but they never also seem to factor in that the games they won that they should have lost. And Skip Bayless does this a lot. Like he always says, "Oh, the Patriots should be 7-0," but he doesn't take into account the games that they won that they probably shouldn't have won. Like he never, and this is in every sport, he always does this. Skip, like when he says, "Oh, the Thunder should have won up 2-0 against the Heat." Because they should have called that foul on LeBron and Kevin Durant should have shot 2 free throws. He would have made both of them, of course, and then the game would have gone into overtime, and the Thunder would have won, and the Thunder would have been up 2-0. And because of that, the Heat wouldn't have been able to come back in the finals. That type of Skip Bayless logic pisses me off. And
that's
Skip Bayless logic.
That's exactly my point when people say the Ravens should have beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. That's the same kind of point I make. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yes.
There's no should, and I agree with you on both sides. The Patriots 7-0. I love my Patriots, and yes, they should be 7-0. But no, to say that is stupid because they didn't win. If you don't win, you don't win. If you win, you win. It's
unless it's taken from you, like the Packers.
Packers is the only time you can say that. There's an asterisk. You get an asterisk unless you're talking about Packers Seahawks.
My point in all this is the Dolphins game against the Rams. The Dolphins should have lost. Like if you look at the numbers, the Rams kicked our ass. Sam Bradford had like over 400 yards. Our defense played terrible. Their kicker missed 3 kicks. Granted, one was a 65-yarder, but he did miss 2. The win was pretty bad. He missed both of them. We only won 17-14. We should have lost that game. So I saw that, and I saw that the Rams I thought, wow, man, the Rams are pretty legit. And then the Patriots go and just absolutely massacre them. I am not ready. I will admit, the Patriots are indeed a better team than I thought. And I never thought they were shitty. I just always thought they were overrated. I always thought.
They must have when they lose to the Rams.
They went 29-26 to the fucking Jets. Mark Sanchez had like the best game of his career. Like,
well, that's when it comes down. The Jets and Patriots games have only been a blowout like maybe once, I think.
But basically, my take-home point in this is, I will give the Patriots more credit, but at the same time, after watching that game, I do not think the Rams will finish 8-8, 9-7. So I'm still not ready to say that the Patriots can beat top teams, but I will tip my hat. It's always impressive to score 45 points, no matter who you're playing. It's always impressive. I will tip my hat to the Patriots. They did a good job. And for all those of you all, I got a message on YouTube. I posted on Twitter that I thought the Dolphins were going to make the playoffs. I do think that. and someone said, "Oh, they barely beat the Rams, and the Patriots massacred them." What does that tell you?
Who cares, man? Who cares?
Yeah.
This is
That's
football, people.
Yeah.
This is football. It doesn't work like that. God, I get so sick of that. It does not work like that.
You realize the
Jets, and I will explain that when we get to our picks. I got some shit to say.
The Jets almost beat the Patriots, and then we went and massacred the Jets. Like, you can use that logic anywhere.
Right, yeah, I mean, you could use that all day, yeah.
I mean, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. But
one thing I will say real quick about the Rams, I don't think it would have, like, even watching the game, I don't think it would have been a 45-7 blowout I mean, it would have still been an easy win for us, but I'm saying, like, as bad as it was, Fletcher killed them. I don't know his first name. I think his last name was Fletcher, I want to say, if it wasn't, sue me. But Rams, I think he's the linebacker, was, like, getting past, was holding our guy, which obviously he was probably holding him because he was getting beat. But, I mean, he just got pass interference calls left and right, and he should have got him because he was holding them. I mean, they showed the play. So, like, that hurt the Rams a lot. Like, I think we scored.
Did you watch that whole game?
Yeah, I watched the whole game.
Why'd you watch? That was over.
Well,
he was like, yes, after every touchdown, yes.
No, listen. Let me clarify. I watched it until they pulled it.
Okay, I got that.
They pulled it at like 35-7, I think. So I can't watch. Once they pulled it, I was like, that's basic cable, or not basic cable, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So to go over our predictions, last week I actually had these recorded. I did terrible. I went 2-4 for the NFL, predicting Seattle, the Eagles, the Redskins, the Cowboys, and I got those 4 wrong. Got Denver and Miami right. Me and Phil were both wrong in picking the Eagles. The Dallas should.
I told y'all they suck. They suck. But go ahead, kid. Go ahead.
Yeah, they only
Can't
lost.
even win off a bye week where Andy Reid's undefeated. I couldn't believe it.
They only lost to the only team that's undefeated. But yes, Mark.
This is not like Phil. I'm glad you brought it up. This is not the same Eagles. This is not the same team. Not the same mentality. Anything.
I do want to say this. So I think Deion Sanders said it best on ESPN after the Jets game. He just goes, "Listen, America, the Jets are who we thought they were. In the preseason, they were a shitty offensive team that couldn't score. And then they surprised us by scoring 48 points in week 1. And he said, but this just shows why week 1 is meaningless. And now the Jets are, in fact, who we thought we were, a team that can't score. I've said this since the start. Tony Sparano's our offensive coordinator. I witnessed Tony Sparano as a head coach for 3 years. There is no more conservative man in the history of the game. This man cannot score touchdowns. It is.
Then why don't he just put in Tebow? Why don't they just put in Tebow, man? It doesn't make and y'all know I think that dude can't throw. But one thing he can do is just pound it right at you. He just keep pounding it and pounding it. Why don't they just put him in the game?
I don't
Why don't they just start?
I don't understand it.
Because
throw like 10 times a game and just run. Just make it creative and just run. Yeah, I mean,
and that's why. I mean, I think that they at this point they need to try something. But I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if Tebow can even resurrect that crappy team.
And also, so aside from that, the Dolphins, we all got Seattle wrong. College football wise, I didn't predict any of the games. Markeem went 3-2, getting right Kansas State, Notre Dame, even though he didn't want to pick Notre Dame.
I'm glad I'm bound by that.
Yes. I am. Now, would you really never pick against them?
Oh, I'll really never pick against them like that. To go into Norman, you know what I mean, and just physically destroy a team that had been killing people the past 2 weeks. Landry Jones had been the best quarterback in the entire country the past few weeks, and he looked normal. I mean, that defense is for fucking real, dog. No, like I guarantee, I'm gonna go on the record right now. On the record, no one will score more than 20 points against that team the rest of the season.
You're on the record.
I'm on the record.
Markeem's filling that record up tonight.
So basically, he got Kansas State right, Alabama right, and Notre Dame. He got wrong USC over Arizona, and also got wrong.
Phil got it right.
I got it right. I know. I was gonna say.
Phil got it right.
Looked into that.
Phil got it right, and Phil went 4-1, and Phil and Markeem actually both finished the week tied at 8-3.
Wow.
I got a question. What was the other one I got wrong?
UF and Georgia.
Oh, okay. All right.
And but Markeem theoretically finished 8-4. Now Phil didn't gamble on this one. This was just me and Markeem. The Virginia Tech game, which I witnessed. I witnessed Logan Thomas stink up the fucking field, and just taking home a nice victory at home. You got any thoughts to say, bitch?
Logan Thomas had a Tim Tebow NFL performance. Have you ever seen anyone play that shitty? Ever?
No, not in a long time.
I've never seen there were passes where the people were wide open screen passes. He's throwing the ball in the stands. This dude is the third-rated quarterback prospect this year. What the fuck are these scouts looking at, dog? This dude, Phil, what I want you to do this. I want you to just find that game somewhere and just watch it. Just sit and watch the epic fail that is. Logan Thomas is the worst quarterback in the nation this year. I said it. This dude is terrible. He's big. So the fuck what? This dude is awful. He ain't even that fast. Yeah, he can run, but he ain't that fast. He can't throw. The dude can't throw. So what? He reminds me of Michael Vick, not as fast and bigger. Simple as that. So the dude is fucking terrible. And you know what pissed me off? What pissed me off the most last night? When he had that little running touchdown, and people were like, he's getting his Michael Vick on. At the okay, y'all know how I feel about the pro Michael Vick, right? Y'all know. I think the dude's terrible. But at the college level, that's a fucking slap in the face to me. Seriously. Michael Vick got us to a national championship game. No one could stop that dude when he was at Virginia Tech. Nobody. And y'all gonna throw Logan Thomas has now tied Michael Vick for rushing touchdowns. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. So what? So what? Why you even got to bring that up? I don't even care. That's the case. Who cares? The dude is terrible. The dude is terrible. Terrible. Fucking off. I'm done.
And the Canes move one step closer to we were actually still able to play in the ACC title game because
I think they will.
Yeah,
I think they will.
Our only two ACC losses are to FSU and to UNC, and UNC can't play in a bowl game this year because of their sanctions. So as long as we beat Duke, I think that it would be us and FSU in the ACC title game, which that would be pretty awesome. All right, now let's.
Clemson's not in y'all's division. I can't remember.
They're not. No, we don't play Clemson this year. All right, now we move on to our week predictions this week. We start off with the Dolphins and the Colts. I obviously am picking the Dolphins. The Colts, Vontae Davis is actually hurt this week. I don't know if y'all knew that. So their cornerbacks are actually going to be pretty shitty. And I think even with Matt Moore at the helm, I think we're going to light them up. And I think and their tight end Fleener, he's out too.
Okay. That's all I needed to hear.
For those who do not know, the tight end usually destroys the Dolphins. That's usually our weak spot. Has been for a long time. But Peyton Manning used to fucking murder us with Dallas Clark. But I'm predicting a Dolphins victory, which would be our first win against the Colts since 2006 or something like that.
You want to go, Phil? You want me to
go? Yeah, I'll go. I think this game is going to be, like I said before, this is an important game. I think that the Colts win, they're in a good spot. If the Dolphins win, they're in a good spot.
Hater.
Kind of hard for. I'm just saying that. I said either way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Big Rat too. I'm going to go with his Dolphins back-to-back weeks. I can't believe I'm going to do that, but I think the Dolphins are going to win this. I think Matt Moore can manage the game enough to keep them, in the lead and stuff. And it isn't. Is the game in Indy? It is in Indy, right?
It's in Indy. It's in Indy.
So it's in Indy, and that can be a loud environment. So I don't know. We'll see how I don't know the last time Dolphins played in Indy, but we'll just like I said, it's gonna be close. I'm not gonna say that the Colts can't win this. I think, like I said, I think it could go either way, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins in a close one.
I'm gonna risk being wrong. I think the Dolphins will win in every way. Everything y'all both have said, especially with Cody Fleener being hurt. Y'all don't know him and Andrew Luck played together at Stanford. Y'all didn't know that. That's kind of cool. He was like Andrew Luck's main target at Stanford. But you know what? With all that being said, I'm going with the Colts because Andrew Luck is my boy, and I want him to do well. So I'm gonna be cheering him on. I like the Dolphins too. Either way is cool for me. Because it's nice seeing someone different actually do well. Tired of seeing the same teams. And that goes for any sport. To be honest, it's just nice to see someone different do something well. So either way is cool for me. But I'm cheering the Colts. So I'm going with I'm picking the Dolphins. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick the Dolphins, but I'm cheering for the Colts. I want to be wrong.
All right. I hope I can slap that fight. I hope I can curse you out next week, but that's a different story. All right, next we got the Panthers and the Redskins. Actually, this one I think we were going to take off, but we'll say it very quickly. I put this on because both teams, I mean, they're kind of the Panthers are really falling. The Redskins, the past 2 weeks haven't been good on them. Their playoff hopes have been looking more and more slim. I think it's kind of a very important win for both games. Plus, it's Cam Newton versus RG3, like the new upstart young rookie versus the previous new upstart young rookie.
Just say it. Just say it. The two niggas that can run going against each other. You can say it. You can say it. It's all right, kid. You can say it.
I'm actually predicting Carolina. Carolina almost beat the Bears last week. Fucking Cam Newton doesn't throw that terrible pick six. They actually would have won the game. And they had the Bears, I think, are like the second best team in the league right now. Probably the best in ways. I mean, I'm not sure. Them or the Niners. Not too convinced with the Falcons yet, but they played. They were competitive with the Bears. I think Cam really, really badly wants to win, even if it's in a crybaby way. I think he really, really, really. No, but he's gotten some tough luck. I mean, the Cowboys. The Cowboys was a tough loss, and this was a really tough loss. I think they're finally playing for a team that the tough loss aspect won't be enough to cause them to lose. I think they'll win. Carolina. I'm going on the limb.
Y'all want me to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know what? Who gives a fuck? Seriously, like I think the Redskins have more to play for. Panthers ain't got shit to play for. Season's pretty much over. You know what I mean? I think, they're going to have to basically run the table to make the playoffs, right? That ain't happening.
Even that, even if that's still weak.
They still going to need some help probably, With that being said, Cam Newton, the boy is physically guy. I think he's one of the most gifted quarterbacks in terms of just physically that, I've ever seen, to be honest with you. He can run. He's not too bad passing the ball. You know what I mean? He's more accurate than that fool Mike Vick. But, I think that they'll lose. But I think they'll put up an effort this time. And especially after what Steve Smith did last week when he was like, hey, you need to stop that power and then come over here and get in the huddle. Stop acting like a bitch. He didn't. I'm assuming he didn't say that, but basically that's what he said. Yeah, you can tell that's what he said. Hey, you need. He pretty much walked over there and was like, he said something to him and you saw Cam get the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Cam needed. I'm going out on a limb, but I think that's what Cam needed. Hopefully this will change the way he thinks, but I do think RG3 at home will be electric, and I think they'll win the game. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll win.
Yeah, I got the Redskins winning this. The Panthers. They're not going to do anything in this. Cam Newton, he needs to step up huge for them. This next, like Markeem said, this season's pretty much done. They're not playing for anything, but he needs to start proving that he can take a hit, or not take a hit, figuratively, take a hit in the game as far as like being not being on his game and still come out and be able to perform, because he's just like the stat says, I think they're 0-13, I want to say, when he throws the interception. Yeah. So he's got to prove to me, until he proves to me that he can fail and win at the same time. If that makes any sense. I got the Redskins in this one.
Vikings and Seahawks.
I think what you tried to say, Phil, is that until he can prove he can win under adversity.
Yes.
Right. All right. Fail and win. Go ahead, Q. Thanks.
Vikings, Seahawks. Both teams are still vying. Vikings was another team I forgot to mention. Seahawks, Packers, and Vikings. Those are the three teams in the wild card hunt that the Redskins would have to beat. Both teams are looking like decent playoff contenders at this point. Vikings came off a bad loss to the Bucks, and I will say, Philip, that the Bucks are now number 2 in the division. So shut the fuck up.
I was waiting for that.
And the only reason I'm so critical of it is because I got such a gratuitous amount of shit. Like, Phil was giving me so much shit just for saying they would play second. Like that. But
I will still go to this. You didn't have the Saints going 2-5. So still.
Yeah, I was thinking. This is crazy, but
I'm just saying that's the only reason they're second.
So I think I'm actually predicting the Seahawks. I think both teams are pretty close. I think the Seahawks are a better team. The Seahawks are coming off a bye. No, they're coming off a loss to Detroit, and I think that they're just gonna, when both teams need a win. Someone wrote an article about this, that when both teams are in a bad need of a win, you just go down to the team that you think You just go down with previous history of teams that have shown that they can win. And I think the Seahawks have beaten more top teams, so I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
You want me to go? You want Phil to go?
Let's just go you, then Phil, for the rest of the predictions.
Yeah, just keep it that way. Yeah.
Okay, who went first last time? I did?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Phil.
Okay. I just think, I mean, these are two of the teams we weren't sure. You know, a lot of people aren't sure are they legit. Minnesota last week getting creamed by the Bucs. Didn't see that coming. I mean, it's Minnesota. I mean, you would think they would lose some of these games, you know, like that, but I didn't think they would get blown out by the Bucs. And I didn't really think they were going to lose. Period. But anyways, what I'm saying is, I think the Vikings need to win this game against Seattle. But it's hard. It's not easy to play in Seattle. I think that it's going to be a task. There's going to be a huge task at hand for them, and I think Seattle has to win this. So I got Seattle.
I think it's damn near impossible, to be honest with you. But Christian Ponder just needs to do what he does. How's Seattle against the run?
They're
really good. They're really good.
They have one of the most underrated defenses in the country.
Yeah, I'm in the country. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
we're talking college football, was?
They're fifth in the league against opposing rushing yards.
See, that's the thing, and Adrian Peterson, he gobbles up physical teams because he likes that shit. So I don't know. Like, I'm going to say that Seahawks, but it's going to be a fight. I'm going Seahawks though, because I'm going Seahawks.
Next week, Steelers and Giants, basically arguably the two most successful NFL teams of the past 10 years or so. I mean, they both have 2 Super Bowls in a relatively short time span. Both teams are known for being very consistent and for having a quarterback that it will never get touted as the best quarterback in the NFL, but generally 2 of the most reliable clutch quarterbacks in the league, Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. I'm actually picking the Giants here, and I usually oppose the Giants. November is usually when the Giants start to play really shitty, but I think this year they're just a better team. I think it's a pick'em game, and I don't know. I'm just going with the Giants. Markeem?
This is another tough one, and damn, it's a lot of tough ones this week. The Steelers kind of need this win, to be honest with you. I think the Giants have firm control over this division. Firm control. I think when they are doing supremely well is when they fail the most. Yes, I mean, but like you said, definitely. They're a different team this year. But I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're really that different. I'm going with the Steelers, but it's tough. Like, I know I'm be just totally wrong this week, but this is because it's a lot of tough NFL games this season. So this week, and I got to go with the Steelers. Even though I'm a little concerned about the Steelers secondary, but I still got the Steelers.
Yeah, like Markeem said, I think the Giants they do tend to start kind of following around this time when they get this lead or whatever you want to call it. They're 6-2. They're feeling good about themselves. They think they're gonna they're cruising along, and through history they're usually the better. No, I can't talk either, Markeem. When they're the best is usually when they're at when their back's against the wall. Yeah. So for them to have to face Pittsburgh this week when they're on their high or whatever, luckily for them, it's not in Pittsburgh, because I would definitely be going Pittsburgh easily with that. But I think I'm still going to stick with the Steelers. I think the Steelers, like Markeem said, need to win this game, and the Steelers are a veteran team. They know that they need to get this win done. They know the coaching staff knows that they need to get it done. And I think they're going to beat the Giants, and mainly because the Giants destroyed the Cowboys, or not destroyed them, mainly Romo destroyed himself. But anyways, the Giants should have easily walked out of that game last week and won, but then we saw Dallas came back. So I mean, I think they can't do that every week against certain teams. Dallas is easy because eventually Dallas will lose it for them, even if
they are an accident waiting to happen.
Right. And I will say this about Dallas now that not that we're talking about them, but I will say this: I think Romo is playing bad. Don't get me wrong there. But some of his receivers just he has no chemistry with anybody. It seems like.
Yeah.
I totally agree there.
Like him and Dez doesn't seem like he's. I'm not going to say Dez maybe is necessarily running the wrong routes, but they just seem like Romo's always yelling at somebody afterwards. Whether he's putting the blame on them, I don't know. But I mean, just from watching it, you can just tell it. Just either there's a chemistry problem, or there's a problem where the receivers aren't running the right routes, and that's making him look even worse. But anyways, like I said, Pittsburgh will I have Pittsburgh beating the Giants, and but it's going to be close as well too, because it's in New York and not in Pittsburgh.
Let me say that I do agree with y'all, and I've been saying this for a while actually, that the Giants. I mean, look at the past 3 years. The past 3 years they've started. I think 6. There was a stat that 6 of the last 8 years they started the season 6-2, and only 2 of those seasons did they go to the playoffs. Like they have a terrible record in November and December, but I do think they're going to continue their high for one more week. I think they're going to get past this week, and then they're going to fall. That's just my opinion. Cowboys, Falcons, because I'm a traditional Falcons hater. I'm actually picking Cowboys in this one. I actually legitimately think
you gotta stop doing this, kid.
Yeah,
he does. Like you put the Cowboys so much.
They almost fucking last week. If Des Bryant makes a fist, they win the game.
He makes a fist.
His touchdown was overruled by fingertips. Fingertips.
Right.
Like, legitimately, they had the game-winning touchdown. I think they're really desperate for a win. They're really desperate for a win this week. And I'm not totally convinced about the Falcons yet. And I know the Cowboys fucking badly need this win. So I'm picking Dallas. Boom. Come at me.
It's going to kill you again. You know that?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
It's going to kill you because I got the Falcons. And I got by way of Romo interceptions. Because, like, I honestly think this will be a murder. I think this will be like a crime scene type murder. I think like Stephen A. Smith said, they're an accident waiting to happen. They're in the Georgia Dome playing a team that's really feeling themselves right now. I think this, and I'll go ahead and admit, I said the winner of the NFC South would not win more than 10 games. I'm wrong. I'm wrong already. It is impossible at this point. It's impossible at this point. I mean, that division is still bad, Phil. It's still horrible.
Falcons are the only one relevant team. Yeah, I agree. Right.
Like, you know, that's why I said that, because the division is so bad. I just didn't expect them to be this good, you know. But dog, yeah. Come on now. Come on, kid. What's wrong with you?
I'm with Markeem on this one, especially because it's in the Dome, and Matt Ryan is just special in that place. If this is close, I'll be like, come on, Falcons. And if this is a Sunday night game, really? Anyways, but if the Falcons lose this game, you're gonna get a rant from me. Like that. Come on, like
I was going to say, Markeem, when you expect Matt Ryan to play well, doesn't that when he usually falters? Don't you think you're kind of on this Atlanta high?
That is true. That is true. But I don't even think he needs to play all that well.
No,
I think they still kill him. I think they still kill the Cowboys.
To be honest, I don't think Romo even has to throw a pick. If Romo,
I don't know about that.
If Romo went randomly and didn't throw but like maybe one pick, I think Atlanta still wins. I just think they're the better team.
I agree. I think they're just better in all phases of the game. And no Sean Lee. It's the kid. This will be a slaughter.
All right. Well, I will play video clips of you saying that next week if they lose.
It's like slaughter.
It's a slaughter. Maybe have like highlights. Tony Romo to Des Bryant touchdown.
Now Matt Ryan or Michael Turner gets hurt or something like that. Come on, cut me some slack.
Yeah.
If they're healthy, they'll kill them.
Right.
Last game, Eagles-Saints. The Saints just look really terrible, and I think the Eagles are fucking. I mean, Michael Vick's job is on the line if they don't win here. I'm picking the Eagles here, and I think Phil would probably agree.
Actually, I'm going to shock you on this one. Maybe, I don't know. But the Saints seem to play different when it's prime time. Outside of that, the Denver game, but which that's just Peyton Manning. But I think the Saints are it's in the Dome. I think that it's Monday Night Football. I think they're gonna play more than they can. I'm hoping maybe Vic throws a couple interceptions for to make my pick even actually happen. But I'm gonna go with the Saints on an upset. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and hope that they win this game.
Markeem?
This is the ugliest game I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
You got a team.
Say it. You got your own team, bitch.
You got a team that coughs up the ball more than I've ever seen in my life. They got another team that can't play no defense. I don't want to see this. I probably won't even watch it. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles because I know I haven't been sounding like a fan these past few weeks. So just out of being a fan, I'm going with the Eagles. But I still don't. If they beat the Saints, I don't give a shit, to be honest with you.
College football. I'm actually going to give picks for the other games just to be fair, so it's not like an awkward fucking lapse in predictions. I won't give too much thought into them because I don't know their opponents all that well. So I'll just rely on prior knowledge and saying Texas A&M, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Kansas State, and Bama. All the higher-ranked teams. But I'll put them down as predictions just so we can actually have a fair comparison next week. But Phil, start us off, and then Markeem finish us off. Texas A&M and Mississippi State.
I got Texas A&M. Mississippi State just got blown out by Alabama, which me and Markeem both thought that was going to happen. So
they ain't played nobody.
And I think Texas A&M has actually done pretty good in the SEC from what I've seen of them, from coming in. So go ahead. I just got Texas A&M from what I know.
Johnny Manziel is a problem. He's going to shred them, absolutely destroy them. Texas A&M.
West Virginia and TCU. Markeem?
I don't get this team. I want to say West Virginia. TCU, I don't get either one of these teams, to be honest with you. Like, TCU gave up a lot of points 2 weeks ago. So I'm going with West Virginia solely because Geno Smith, he's still Geno Smith, even though he ain't going to win the Heisman. He's still amazing. I mean, they'll win. West Virginia.
Phil?
West Virginia, too. That's what I'll go with.
Texas and Texas Tech, Markeem.
The defense sucks. Texas defense is absolutely terrible. I cannot see them going to Lubbock and beating Texas Tech when Texas Tech is scoring 40 points a game. And Mac Brown, I really do not think, to be honest with you, if Mac Brown loses this game, I don't think he'll be back next year. And I think he's going to lose this game. And guess what? He won't be back next year. Texas Tech by at least 2 touchdowns.
I don't really know, but I'll pick Texas Tech.
I'll go with Markeem. Oregon and USC.
I said on Twitter, y'all heard me say on Twitter,
yep.
Oregon will drop 70 on USC. They'll win. I think the final score will be some crazy shit, like 70 to like 50 something, like really real shit. I think that they have no answer for Marquise Lee and Robert Woods. Those dudes they both gonna have huge games. But I think that, as I said, USC has no heart. And to defend the run, you have to have heart. And they've looked terrible against the run all year. And DeAnthony Thomas and homeboy, I forget his name, will go off, and Oregon will score like 70 points to beat them. I want USC to win. I truly do. Because, I'm a fan of Matt Barkley. I want him to have some sort of success this year because Lane Kiffin is awful. But, Oregon will win.
Phil?
Yeah, USC... they're just not playing to the talent level like Markeem said. I think Oregon's really good. I think Oregon is one of the teams I'd like to see go up against Alabama. I'm not saying they could beat them, but it's one of those teams that from what I've seen I really like, and I think Oregon wins this game easily too. Like Markeem, I don't know about 70. Markeem knows a little more than me, or a lot more than me. But I'm saying as far as Oregon, that's what I'll go with them.
Phil, you saw the end of that game,
right?
Right. You saw how they just couldn't stop the run.
Right.
With 7 dudes. Come on, it's 70. Said what? I promise you, 70 points.
It's probably right. Yeah.
Kansas State, and Oklahoma State.
Y'all know every week I pick Colin Klein.
Yeah.
I'm really worried this week. I'm really worried because I'm worried about this game. Like it's just weird. It just seems like the type of game they lose, man. Oklahoma State, they need a win because they trying to stay relevant. You know what I mean? And they trying to be the spoiler. I got Colin Klein, but man, I really think this game is gonna be a lot closer than people think. I got Kansas State. Every week I pick Colin Klein, but this week I'm a little nervous, just a little bit.
I want Kansas State to win as much as they can because I want to be able to actually get to watch one of their games. So I hope Kansas State wins.
And finally, the biggest game of the week in both the NFL and NCAA, the rematch that no one wants to see, Alabama and LSU.
Y'all want me to say why? I remember how I hyped this up. I said my prediction will shock you, right?
Yeah.
Bama will kill LSU.
Wow.
And I'm not even talking. It's not going to be close. I know it's a rivalry. It's Death Valley. Blah 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 blah. Bama's going to kill them. Let me explain to you exactly what will happen. And by some stroke of God, if Mettenberger turns into Andrew Luck, this will not happen. Bama and LSU will be close in the first and through the first and half of the second quarter. Then, when LSU's defense has been on the field all game, AJ McCarron, Eddie Lacy, that other boy, the freshman, I forget his name, will annihilate them. 35-3, Alabama.
Wow. Phil?
I agree. I don't know about complete blowout, but I mean, Alabama's by far the better.
Bama's on the road, right?
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
but
This is Death Valley. I understand all that.
right. But I just think
LSU cannot score.
Yeah.
Like the defenses, Alabama's defense is I think by a good margin better than LSU. LSU has an elite defense too. Alabama has one of the best defenses of all time. They're only giving up 8 points a game. You know what I mean? And your boy Flo, I got to bring this up real quick, Phil. Your boy Flo brought up a really good point. He said that he was listening to the radio out there in Texas, and Kirk Herbstreit was on that. And Kirk Herbstreit said that Texas A&M is more of a threat to Alabama than LSU is this week. I wholeheartedly agree with that because Manziel brings something to the table that Alabama hadn't faced since Cam Newton, and we saw what happened there. You know what I mean? Right. I think Nick Saban struggles against quarterbacks that can create plays for themselves, and Manziel can do that because I don't think he can coach against that. You know what I mean, I think there'll still be A&M. I mean, that's a little advanced pick, but I do think that game will be close. But this, I don't see any way in the world this could be close. I don't see how LSU can score a touchdown on this defense. This is one of the worst offenses I've ever seen in my life against one of the greatest college defenses of all time. This will not be close. Yeah. I can't see this being close.
I don't either. And I think LSU played their best game against South Carolina. To be honest.
Exactly. And how many points did they score?
Yeah, and they barely won that game. So I mean,
exactly.
And they had to come. They came back to win that game, didn't they? Yeah. So
exactly.
I just know, I don't think Alabama's gonna have a problem with LSU.
I respect Les Miles, I truly do, but this will be a blowout.
Right.
And with that, we include this week's episode of the First Take. Sorry that we're late. This one actually took a while to get us to start recording, but it should be up.
The kid was asleep. It was the kid's fault. Blame him.
No, I also wanted to record it on Wednesday, and someone said, "Oh, we can't do it on Wednesday." So it's not just my fault that I fell asleep last night.
I can't.
I would say 95% of it is
maybe more than that. 98.
Right, but Markeem has his niece and nephew with him. I have friends from out of town upstairs. We all made Phil's tired from work. We all make these sacrifices because we love doing the show and we love doing it for you guys. So we thank you. And with that, I am out.
Yeah, peace, everybody. Bye bye.
I'm out.
And
see you next time.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.